So this morning I thought I'd recap on the Buila Conference that we all attended over the last couple of days. I went to the conference as a first timer. We were also sponsors with Ruffalo Noah Levitz, which is a US based enrollment consultancy. They are actually the #1 US consultant in America. So they help domestic institutions drive their undergrad, postgrad online enrollment. And I represented Friesland Collective, which is my company. So together with RNL, we delivered a session called Growing US Recruitment is as Easy as Losing Weight. So some of the key takeaways that we wanted you to understand from our session, and if you didn't go to our session or if you missed it, we will be sending out the PDF version of all the 60 slides. We had a very data heavy presentation, so we went through a lot of slides, but that's because we really wanted you to have that data on US students. So even if you're, even if you're a veteran in US recruitment, that the latest stats say this about American students versus what you might have thought was kind of the situation in the region. So that was something that was quite important to us, for you guys to have enough information about the perceptions of students, parents, counselors, because at the end of the day, if the decision makers are not happy or convinced about the value of British education, then they will not commit to the purchase. So that was important to us. Another thing we really wanted to focus on was driving growth driving tactics. Anything to do with, I call it supersizing your enrollment, so your recruitment numbers in the US. Because a lot of the time people do know what to do traditionally, so they know that they have certain states they'd like to travel to. They know how to talk to counselors, and they understand the role counselors play. But that traditional model is something we want you to not think about. Well, especially in that session, we really wanted you to think differently. Think about US recruitment in a more data-driven way. And that is not something UK schools do, primarily because international recruitment it's quite traditional. So if you're recruiting for Southeast Asia, South Asia, there's certain things you do that have always worked and that still work, and maybe marketing is playing like a small part in your recruitment. But in the US, especially for institutions that have very little brand recognition, institutions that aren't, in London, institutions that aren't particularly exciting right from, the name, they need to think outside of the box. So they really should be looking at digital growth. So in our session, a lot of the slides will talk about things to do that will engage students through, Google search optimization down to your site. And I think we talked about the website quite a lot, but I think that point needed to be made to US recruiters, because I have seen too many new international recruitment officers in the UK go to the US, follow what everybody else is doing before tackling their website. And I know that's primarily because, there's many reasons why people do what they do, but tackling those basic foundations is probably the most important thing American recruiters need to be doing. So the website was something we talked about quite a lot, and really having the right message on there. So it's not so much about, having all the exciting things on there, like videos and images and testimonials. That's all on there. That's something we really wanted you to think about, but also having enough parent and counselor information on there. So if you know that technically as an institution, you can have as much content as you want on your website. So as much content on that US page or that North America page that you have created. There really is no limit to how much you can have. And currently we have what I call a scrolling culture. So the more students are scrolling through your site, through that page without feeling disengaged, the higher chances you are of having them engage further. So if you think about it that way, and you think about your current page and possibly the fact that it does not have a lot of content on there, that it maybe does not have any parent content whatsoever, or any counselor information, any counselor guides, then that's something to possibly use this summer for. So summer meaning, the July, August, before September, before the fall, to brush that up, because there is no point, and this is my opinion only. There is no point in paying money to go to the United States, travel, buy all those flights, hotels, fares, and drive inquiries, so drive student interest, if there is nothing you're driving them to. So what often happens is when students go to the fair, or when students are intrigued about your institution in any way, online, offline, the next thing they'll do is they'll Google. But they won't go to your homepage and start exploring that way. They will most likely Google something quite specific, and if they don't find information quite easily, then they might get discouraged. The value of a British education needs to be one of the most important things that UK schools advertise. So if I know that a degree in the UK is 1 year less, that it guarantees a student admission for 3 years, which means that they do not have to take longer to complete if they follow and complete everything as necessary, then that is a huge value driver for American students. Because I think the graduation rates in the States are super low. I think the 4-year graduation rate is, I don't want to get it wrong, but it is in the maybe 40%, maybe under 50% for sure. So this means that less than 50% of American students graduate within 4 years. So if you know that a UK school and 99% of your American students graduate within 3 years, you can use this information to truly shape that piece of information and tell your students that this means this is valuable. This is something that they cannot get in their home institution. That's one of the things that Anne mentioned, value being very important. We also talked a lot about cost calculators and ways to show American students how much it really costs, because it is currently something that every university in America has to do. They have to have a cost calculator on their website. So I talked about mainly trying to create something that mimics a cost calculator for US students. The thing I've realized is the room we had was full, which was great, and I'm really grateful that so many people were interested in this topic, US recruitment. But I also realized that there were many different people in the room. So we had people who were just starting US recruitment, people who were, in their 4th, 5th year of recruiting US students, and senior managers and directors. So the audience, I guess everybody's looking for something different when it comes to this topic. So if you at any point in time think you had some questions or had something you wanted to specifically cover, then message me, email me, tweet, anything you want. My contact details are in this video, but also on the Friesland Collective page. Do have questions, you're more than welcome to email me anytime. My company is focused on driving American students to the UK. So that is what I do. That is what I want to help you with. I understand the way the UK operates in terms of international budgets, CRM capabilities, and all the great things that we sometimes struggle with here in the UK. So we can have a very frank conversation about your capabilities and your abilities to try to grow American recruitment. Just get in touch, contact me. I'll be more than happy to visit your campus, do an assessment on what your current situation is, look at that historical data, really try to understand who your American student is, because oftentimes that is also another thing recruiters don't do, is assess and analyze what is actually happening that is creating our growth. I personally operate and align myself with companies and institutions that understand data. If you don't understand data and you can't work the data, I will help you make it work for you. But I think there is no way we can move on and be an informed campus and drive change to our institutions without any understanding of how we work with data.